Hi, and welcome to Stories of Failed Businesses, the show that proves your story isn't just something to tell, it's a strategy to build your business from. I'm your host, Megan Wright, a story and strategy coach and the founder of Stories of Failed Businesses. And I'm very excited because today I'm joined by Anna Knight from the Audacious And.
Thank you for having me.
Can you give us a little bit of insight into the Audacious And, who you are, what you do?
Yeah, of course. So the Audacious And is my coaching company. I work with people who are stubbornly hopeful that the world is going to get better, who are actively doing things to make the world a better place, but who are going, my goodness, this is hard work.
I would love to know, when did you notice that you were a change maker? What was that moment where you were like, oh, do you know what? I'm really wanting to change the world. And not only that, but I'm doing it.
Such a good question. I think there's two moments, actually. So the first moment, I was very justice sensitive as a teenager. I could see exactly what was wrong with the world. And I actually got really involved in youth politics. I think that was like a moment where I was like, in a very naive, like, I can make the world a better place. We can right the wrongs that are out there. Like, so at kind of 14, 15, I was sure I could change the world. And then life happened to me, is the honest answer. I was in an abusive relationship for about 15 years. So when I left that relationship, I was going to Newcastle Women's Aid, and I just started having coaching myself at the same time. And at the very last session, an amazing woman sat me down and said, do you know, Anna, have you ever thought about training to be a coach yourself? And I had that real moment of going, oh yeah, that's what I want to do. So I went and I trained to be a coach. I could really see it like spreading out from there. You could see the ripples.
I think that's the thing, like even the smallest pebble can create massive ripple effect, can't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes things I didn't even know about were having an impact. I remember one time writing what I thought was like the best social media post in the world. I was like, I have never written something more beautiful, authentic, gorgeous, wonderful. This is the post that takes me viral. And it got like 2 likes. And I remember
It's
being
always the way.
gutted. And then a full year later, like almost to the day, someone commented on that post and said, I think about this post every single day. Like,
Incredible.
I want you to know how much this post has helped me. And it really changed my mind about how I was seeing being a change maker, because it had been an amazing post. It had changed that person's life, but they didn't even like it the first time round. Like, I was so hooked on those like vanity metrics of like reach and likes and comments and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And I think there's a couple of things that stood out for me there. Is one, that sometimes when we tell stories, the thing that makes them unforgettable is that feeling, the emotion behind them. But that doesn't always correlate with, like you said, the vanity metrics, the likes, the comments. Because sometimes when it hits people hard or it really resonates with them, sometimes they're not in a headspace where they feel able to like or comment publicly, but it sticks with them. And I think for me, and the way that I love stories and business to interlink, that is top tier. Like, that is what you want, is you want those stories that people don't just go, oh, that's nice. They genuinely remember them. Because if you can tell a story people remember, then you and your business become unforgettable. So yeah. I love that example. And the other thing that really stuck out to me is when you were talking about kind of being a teenager and being a change maker. As teenagers, we have boundless self-belief in a lot of ways. We genuinely believe we can change the world, right? You're young enough to not know better almost. Like, you've not been like hardened by the world yet. Whereas actually then when you had come out of the abusive relationship, you started to doubt whether or not you were capable of making those changes. So I'm just curious, what do you think is that interplay between being a change maker or seeing yourself as a change maker and confidence?
It's really interesting because so many of the people who I would call change makers have very poor confidence. They believe in their vision, they believe in their mission, they believe in the importance of the work they're doing. But the thing that unites almost all of the people that I work with is this idea that they're doing it because they're there, but there's someone better out there who could be doing it. But I wouldn't say that you need to be confident to be a change maker. Like, I work on my confidence daily.
It's
Yeah.
not a static. You will have ups and downs and days where you don't kind of feel
Yeah.
as good about yourself or feel as capable. And I think for me, one thing that always stands out is it's really easy to notice problems and complain about them. That's a really easy thing to do. What's a lot harder is to find solutions and work towards them. And that, I think, is where change makers are so important, because they're not just sitting there going, well, that's no good. Like, well, that's wrong. They're actually going, okay, well, how we can change it. Here's what we could do. And not only am I going to tell people what we do, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to model it. I'm going to help people to do it. Because again, it's that ripple effect. Like, one person can't necessarily change the world, but one person creating change and creating that ripple effect means that it will never just be one person changing the world, because they will carry people along with them and encourage them and then motivate them. It's not just about one person, it's about the big picture.
I have a tool that I love doing with my clients. I call it the trousers of time, which for anyone who knows Terry Pratchett, it's a very, very nerdy reference. Terry Pratchett said that in every moment where you make a choice, you go down one leg or the other leg of the trousers of time. And you end up in one place or the other place, depending on what decision you make. The tool is to look at them as stacking trousers. Like, so you go down one pair of trousers and another pair of trousers and another pair of trousers.
It's like a domino effect, isn't it? Like, the more dominoes are full, the bigger the dominoes can be down the line, because you've got that momentum, but it all starts with that single start.
And I think when you're in the doing of change making, it is frustrating. Like,
Yeah.
it can feel like the problems that you're dealing with are vast, and you go, I'm just one person. What can I do? If every moment of what you do, if you think this could be the thing that creates the ripples that are needed, then it's impossible not to see yourself as making change.
I think it takes the pressure off a little bit as well, because
Mm-hmm.
when you see that there are those many opportunities to make positive change,
Yeah.
it doesn't come down to, did I do this one thing right today? And because it's not a case of yes or no, black and white, it's all these small moments that can add up over time.
Yeah. And even if 1% of your day creates positive change,
Yeah.
amazing, because that could be the 1% we need. Because it's all this trousers of time thing, you don't know the outcomes. That one thing you do, saying good morning to someone, holding the door for someone, smiling at someone, like the one that I talk to a lot of my clients about is resting. Because if resting today lets you hit more of the opportunities tomorrow, then resting is change making.
100%. When I was a primary school teacher and when I was working in mental health, that was something I definitely learned the hard way, is that pushing myself and keeping going was not what was best for the people I was supporting, because they weren't then getting the best version of me. I needed to protect myself, my own energy, my emotional well-being, because I could then show up as my best self, which meant they got the best possible support from me. It took me a while to rewire that it wasn't selfless giving versus selfish self-care. I really had to rewire it in my brain that actually looking after yourself is looking after the people that you support.
Yeah. I found a wonderful quote once where it talks about how being greedy is the most generous thing you can do. Because if you are greedy, it means that you're actively committed to getting your needs met, getting your wants met. And if you get your needs and your wants met, you have more reserves to give to others. So it completely reframes this idea with so many change makers. Are they going, oh, I'm selfish, I can't take time for myself. That would be selfish when there's so much to do. It is generous. It is the thing that gives you the energy to do what you need to do.
I used to teach a well-being workshop, and I would always say, like, some people love to go for a run. Like, that will calm them down. Like, for me, that's not going to do it. But sit me down and allow me to do something creative, and I will adore it. Whereas I know there are people who get so stressed at the idea of having to paint something or draw something. It's so important to find what works for you, because it's a unique experience. And that's where a lot of people get led astray. They've not been given the opportunities to explore things and find what does and doesn't work for them. That's such an important thing, is finding you within everything you do. I'm not there to prescribe anything, because to me, most of us who have started businesses felt boxed in our 9 to 5. We don't want to feel boxed in a business that we are building ourselves. Building a business is hard enough without then feeling on top of that like you can't be yourself, like you can't do the things that you want to do, that you have to follow these kind of rules that have been set by someone you've paid money to. I'm very clear on the fact that that isn't how I want to work. I've definitely had people be like, oh, it's a mindset thing. And I'm like, it's not a mindset thing. It's just that my mind is set on not doing it your way. Like that's the only thing. People confuse mindset with self-awareness. There is a difference. Mindset is, there's a block that is stopping you from doing something that you're fully capable of doing and would like to do. Whereas self-awareness is just knowing your strengths and wanting to play to them. And I always think we all have different strengths, and our lived experience, our stories, the things that have built us into the people we are today are so unique. And I think for me, that's what's so important about when I'm supporting people, is really looking at like, what is the journey you've taken to today? What are those stories that have shaped you? What are the strengths, the skills that you've gained along the way? Because that's what your business should be built around. It shouldn't be built around this idealized version of who you want to be or who someone else thinks you should be, but who you genuinely are. Because people talk about transformational coaching, and I just don't like it as a word, because to me, no one needs to transform. Like, you are who you are. You can grow, you can develop, you can build your skills. Like, you will change over time naturally, because that is what life is. But you do not need to transform. You just maybe aren't using your story and your skills in a way that works for you.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so happy to hear you say that, because I say that all the time. Like, I will never, ever sell a 12-week transformation, because it implies that you are the problem, and if you just transformed, your life would be better. And actually, the people that I work with, the problems are systemic. The problems are trauma. But I don't think I've ever come across a single human where I've gone, actually, you're the problem. We always need to be asking ourselves, if someone's telling you you need to transform, like, who benefits from that? Because generally it is someone much richer than you, someone with a lot more power than you, because what they want to transform you into is someone who pays them more money, or someone who behaves more docilely in society, someone who fits the system better. I don't want to tame anyone, transform them, make them anything other than just more them. But what they've been told probably their whole life is to make themselves good, to behave, to be not too much, to be good enough.
I think it's those like the messages we hear from people and the way we integrate them into ourselves. And one of the things that I love that you do on your social media a lot is you talk about like messages from the universe. Really resonated that idea of looking out for what we can learn and take from all these different places. But what I'm really curious about is, where was your first sign from the universe?
I know exactly what it was, and this is a story I've never told publicly. So I really enjoy doing tarot cards. For me, it's like a self-reflection exercise. It's almost like a form of self-coaching for me. And I started doing it in the last 2 years of my marriage. And every single reading I did for 2 years, 2 full years of doing weekly tarot readings, the Fool card came up. And like, I bought different decks because I was like, maybe this is a sticky card in this deck. I learned how to like shuffle like a Vegas gambler, because I was like, clearly I'm just not shuffling my cards well enough. Every single year, no matter what, that came up. And the Fool card, for people who don't know tarot symbolism, it means take the leap of faith. So for like 2 years, every time, take the leap of faith. When I eventually left my husband, same tarot decks, same whatever, I didn't see that card for 9 years.
Do you think there was anything that changed between the first time you saw that card and the time when you went, oh, okay, I need to do this?
I think what changed for me is that I created a support network. So the time it first landed, I felt very, very alone in my problems. I was low, I was isolated, I was really unwell. And at the time, I think each time it was about, I couldn't take the big leap of faith. Like that was beyond me.
Yeah.
But it gave me a nudge to work out, okay, what's the next thing I do? Like I talk a lot about the aggregate of incremental gains, which is a term that comes from road cycling. It's about doing the next thing that made life 1% easier. And so some weeks it was things like I joined a book club. I changed jobs in that time because I knew that working in the school that I was working at was so absorbing. Each gain that I made put me a little bit further towards the big leap of faith time. Like, I wouldn't have got there without all those other incremental gains, without building my network, without getting my health a bit better, without getting mental health support. Like, there were so many things that went into it. But each time led up to that moment where I was like, oh, if I want joy in the future, I've got to go through the bad things. And the leaving of him was hard. It took another 6 months to actually leave. But the joy that I've experienced since that point onwards, incomparable to the first 30 years of my life. Like, if I thought I knew what joy was then, like now I've learned to listen to myself, to tune into who I actually am, to be me. Like, I was so masked in who I was. And yes, there were good times, but nothing like what I have now.
What really stands out to me there is, like you said, that it took 2 years of the full card coming out before you made the leap. But actually, I think you were taking leaps. They just maybe weren't that big a leap. But actually, taking control of your mental health, joining book clubs, like meeting new people, getting support, like all of those are leaps.
Yeah.
Well, I think you probably listened to that card more than you think you did over those 2 years.
Yeah. Interestingly, that came from like that understanding that that's what I did. I uncovered that in coaching about 2 years after I'd left my ex. I held the belief I'm not a brave person. And I was at a big conference where you do like a limiting belief release. Like it's a really transformative thing of like 400 people in the same room all releasing their limiting beliefs together en masse in this like big group process. Like it's really emotional. But the belief that I took into my second one of those is that I'm not brave. And then at the end, you turn to the person next to you and you tell them, like, this is where I was, this is how the process was for me, this is where I am now. And when I said, like, oh, my belief is that I'm not brave, the person next to me was like, are you kidding me? Like, I've known you 6 months and you've done this. And I was like, well, I know that now, but only after I've done this release process. Like, I couldn't see that facet of myself for so long, even though I was living it.
I think we sometimes don't see things in ourselves. I have that all the time with clients where they'll tell me stories and they're like, oh, but that's not important. And I'm like, that's a great story. Like, what? Like, but you can't see it when you're in it. To you, it's every day. It's like, well, that's just normal. Like, I've got a million stories like that. So you throw them away. But actually, sometimes you need that outside perspective to be like, that's amazing. You need to be able to see yourself outside of yourself. And I suppose that I wonder, like, because you've had your coaching business for about 5 years now, which I think is incredible because there are a lot of businesses that do not last 5 years. But when you think about the Anna that started the business 5 years ago versus the Anna you are now, what didn't day one Anna know about herself?
Oh, that's a great question. So many things. Looking back to what day one Anna knew, she knew nothing. I didn't know how resilient I was. I launched 3 months before the pandemic with my coaching business. I was brimming with that optimism, and it has been hard. And I have made many mistakes. Like, I am not afraid to say there have been choices I've made as a business owner that I've then 6 months later looked at and gone, I didn't see how close I was to losing everything until after it's passed, or I've got myself in the right pickle here and I need to unpick it. But what I know from being 5 years into my coaching business is that I've got the skills to handle pretty much whatever life throws at me. So many challenges, like I couldn't list them all now, but I know that I've handled them all and I know how I've handled them all. I now know, me today at 38, that I am really resilient, both as just a life individual and as a business owner. And I think more people, particularly in business, need to know what resilience actually is, because I think we have that like wishy-washy throw pillow, like, oh, resilience is like weathering the storms, but like no one actually tells you how. But they need to own their resilience. If you've been in business a year, you've weathered storms. If you've been in a business 5 years, you've weathered big storms.
Yeah. Do you know what? This has been such a great conversation. And I think something I like to do as we wrap up is gift you a word that I think summarizes a lot of what we've talked about today, and get your feedback on whether you think it sums up what we talked about. And for me, the word that kept coming up was solving. I feel like so much of the work you do is helping people to solve problems, whether those be big problems within the world, whether it's challenges they're facing personally, but also the journey you've been on has been so much about solving and escaping and changing the situations you're in so that you've been able to evolve and become the you that was always there.
I love that word. I've never thought about it in connection with myself, and it is beautiful. Thank you.
I'm so glad that resonates. This has been such a lovely chat, and thank you to everyone listening for listening to Stories Build Businesses. If today's episode has resonated, I'd love you to share it with somebody who you think needs to hear it, or let me know over on Instagram at Stories Build Businesses. Remember, your story matters far more than you think, and the way that you build your business gets to feel good. See you next time.